Hey, sports and drafts fans, it's Wednesday, 2 weeks post Super Bowl. Sorry we didn't make it to you guys last week. Hungover from the Super Bowl going into the week. And yeah, actually I was blaming myself having bad internet connection in Albuquerque, New Mexico. Um so welcome everyone to the show. Dave, how you doing, buddy? How's your week
Good.
been?
Good week. Pretty good week. Just getting back in the swing, missing football, but gotta just pivot and move into basketball season, and hopefully baseball season happens on time.
Yeah.
On time, hopefully.
I got to get my refund from Major League Baseball on the spring season tickets I bought for this Saturday. We're gonna see the Mariners and the Padres this weekend, and that ain't gonna happen. So,
I don't think so.
got to get. Supposedly, I think how I bought them should do an automatic refund. But I was looking forward to getting to the games, and well, hopefully they get this resolved. I know they met yesterday, and they were meeting again today, which is I think a little bit somewhat positive because their meetings have been kind of, oh, we met today, we'll meet later, but since they're coming back 2 days in a row, hopefully that means there is some momentum somewhere, and they can get this lockdown or lockout resolved, and get some players around here.
Yeah. I mean it's big revenue for your area down there. I mean, everyone looks forward to going to spring training, whether it's there or in Florida. So you got some of these places that really look forward to the business for almost a month, restaurants and such. And if you don't have that, that's too bad. That's tough economy wise for those little areas too that host these spring trainings.
Yeah, and I hope, depending on how long the lockout lasts, I hope they extend, spring training. I hope they keep it, to a month, just simply because, the revenue. But you also have to look at, these teams they have to look at the talent. They got, and make their cuts and everything, and get everybody warmed up. So I'd rather see them take like the first 10 games off the regular season and have a full spring training. And I also think that it helps Major League Baseball. I mean, spring training's a huge event. I think it's to me it's second to the playoffs, and you sell a lot of merchandise, team merchandise at these games, and you get these stadiums are going to be selling out. So everyone, it's I think it's big money for the local community, for Major League Baseball, and merchandising. So I think more people are going to more people watch spring training games than easily they do show up for the first 10 games of any regular season, because they're playing in the middle of the week and stuff, and and you might get 1,000 fans or something, but on some of those early games nobody really cares about. So but yeah, so hopefully they can end this lockout soon, and we can get to some baseball. So I saw you taking a sip there. What you enjoying tonight, Davey?
Yeah. Tonight I have it's called the Jabberducky.
What?
The Jabberducky.
Oh, wow.
It's a West Coast IPA. It has Galaxy and Exnot hops, 6.5 ABV, and it is brewed by Duckfoot Brewing out of San Diego. I have not had this this brewery's beer before. This is my first one. Has a nice gold West Coast IPA color to it. Has a nice hot flavor to it. I just took my first sip of it. Yeah, good. I would say a good West Coast IPA. Tastes just like a West Coast IPA should taste like. So yeah, good and refreshing. I'd get this again for sure.
That's awesome. Mine was my Super Bowl beer. So I bought a 4-pack of these. This is La Cumbra Slice of Heffen. It's a Mexican beer, Mexican brewery, and 5.4. And it actually, first beer that I've got that came with instructions. So I don't know, let's see if I can get that. So basically, you pour 2/3 of it, you swirl it around, and then you vigorously pour vigorously for full, rich head. Of course, I already did that. They suggest a 23-ounce glass. I couldn't reach my 23-ounce glass, though. But yeah, it's a nice unfiltered hef, but it's actually got a banana taste to it. And I thought I was kind of crazy about that, or crazy that I could smell and kind of taste that. And so I looked them up online, and sure enough, it has a banana flavor or something to it. I didn't pick that up during the Super Bowl. I had a few of these during the Super Bowl, and I fortunate enough to keep one around for the show. So, yeah, no, but it's good. And I had one of their IPAs at lunch in Albuquerque there. So they have this brand on tap pretty much anywhere around there because it is brewed out of. I think I forgot to share that it was brewed out of Albuquerque, New Mexico. So. Yeah, good time there last week, and watched the Super Bowl from our hotel room, and on I don't even think it was the 32-inch TV. It might have been. I have probably a 32-inch TV, but we were gonna go out and find a place and sports bar or something, and we just decided that we'd go to the store and get all of our fixins and make our own charcuterie board and nachos and vegetable plate and just hang in the hotel room and watch the game. So it was still a good time and a good game to watch. Good game to watch. So, hey, before we get into a little bit of that and then transition over, we got a little bit of pre-show kind of stuff. I saw something down on my thing here. I was going to say, where do I want to start? This one, you sent me this, and I was unaware that Dennis Rodman even had a daughter to begin with, but that his daughter played soccer, secondly. And as you shared, she's now signed the richest contract.
Yeah, this is the richest contract ever signed by the NWSL, basically the Women's Professional United States League. So this is kind of like the MLS for women. If you don't know a whole lot about U.S. women's professional soccer, so this is the top league, and she just got paid the richest contract. She's 19. I've watched her in a couple matches already. Really aggressive, plays really well. Always kind of pushing up the field. So she's pretty fun to watch. 19, so she's young. She's kind of looking at being kind of the future of U.S. women's soccer, at least a major player going forward, as a very popular U.S. women's soccer player. So good for her getting that contract, and her progress and see how she does for her Washington team and our U.S. national team, which she'll be on. So I want to make sure that, watch her during that. And that's pretty cool. Dennis's daughter's doing well. His son plays basketball at Washington State. I think is a sophomore this year. He's a shooting guard, who shoots quite a bit, surprisingly, since Dennis didn't. But yeah, so he's got two kids that are doing great. So good for him, good for the kids.
Yeah, that's awesome. See, I like Dennis, so I might actually follow a little bit of women's soccer now. So,
you should.
I don't know who this is. Tell me about what we're looking at here.
This is Joycelyn Allo. So basically, she's tied right now with an alumni of hers for the most home runs in an NCAA women's softball career. So all time, she's tied at 95 with a gal that graduated, Miss Chamberlain, that graduated from Oklahoma. She was there from 2012 to 2015. And now, maybe as we speak, I'm not sure. I was looking for updates, but she just needs to hit one more home run. And then Joycelyn Allo here for Oklahoma will be the all-time leader in home runs in college history. She'll hit her 96th probably very, very soon. So we're looking right here at the greatest power hitter in NCAA women's softball history.
Wow. Good on her. Is it DeMar Rosen? Rosen, right?
Yeah, DeMar DeRozan. Yeah. He went on a tear right before the All-Star break. So basically he did something that nobody else had done. He broke Wilt Chamberlain record even. So he's the first player in NBA history to score 35 points or more while shooting 50% or better in 7 consecutive games. First person in NBA history to do that. I think Wilt had 6. So yeah, he had over 35 points in 7 games in a row while shooting over 50% in every game.
Give the guy the ball.
Yeah, for sure.
Give this guy the ball.
Yeah.
I mean 16 3-pointers. I read this one before. Of course, there's no defense being played, but you still have to make the shots. And all things, considered. But 16 3-pointers. I mean, I think the record was 9. Was it something like that?
He had 8 at halftime. I think he had 8 and 8. 8 in the first half and 8 in the second half. And I watched it. I recorded it and then watched it recorded. And I think maybe 5 of them were tough. And probably about 11 of them he was wide open, or 6 of them he was kind of contested. About 10 he was wide open. But yeah, you still got to hit them. So, 16 threes, and he had 50 total points in the All-Star game. So he was the MVP for sure. And, and the next photo probably will show LeBron hit the game-winning shot in the All-Star game in Cleveland. So he was super thrilled after the game and all of his interviews. He was just so excited to have that moment in Cleveland, his, hometown area, and hit the game-winning shot. His team, so since they've been picking teams, instead of East versus West, now they do East starters, West starters, and then the captains pick the rest of the guys on their team. Since they've been doing that, his team is 5-0. His team that he's drafted has never lost since they started the drafting of the players.
Yeah, he picks well. So he's got another record that he's passed. Big name.
Yeah, this was right before the All-Star game also. He kind of ended the first half of the season. He passed Kareem Abdul-Jabbar for the most combined points in history. So that's regular season points and playoff points combined. He is now the all-time leading scorer in NBA history. He has the most points ever scored by NBA.
I had seen this earlier, and I meant to go in. It's like, okay, he's had the most points, but I wonder how many across how many games. I mean, who played more games? And is it?
It's got to be close because Kareem played like 21 seasons, and LeBron's at like 20 right now. I think it's probably fairly close. I could probably look it up, but
yeah, I was just kind of in that, just kind of curious. It's like did he? Is it because he's played a couple more years? And so I mean, it's all good. I mean, he's in the record book. So, and he's toppled a big name with that record, and so good on him. And so we watched a little bit of football last week and or a week before. Great game. It really was a great game. You know what? I'm gonna go ahead and I think we got to get a little bit of business out of the way here, real quick, so I can kind of share. I mean, I think we did some picks this year, and I got a little graphic, here. We just want to share it to everyone, kind of who won the picks. Dave and I did our picks against the Vegas spreads each week. So here's just a little bit of there's the winner. And just having a little fun there.
I like it.
I haven't won five yet. So it's gonna kind of ride off into the sunset and enjoy this win.
Good one. Yeah, you got me by 2 games.
I thought it was just
Super
one.
Bowl clinched it. Well, you were up 1, and then we picked different on the Super Bowl, and you won that one by point spread. You got that.
So the Bengals did win it for me. The Bengals
did
get a victory with the Bengals.
Yeah, because they didn't lose by 4 or more.
And I'm gonna, I had that like 13 game lead at one point. I'll tighten it up next year and hang on to my leads if I can get them. And but no, good stuff. I mean, we were right there, but it was a good game. I was really happy though for Cooper Kupp. I mean, obviously what he did this season is just unbelievable, and with the Triple Crown, most receiving yards, touchdowns, and receptions. The guy is just, you go in with a game plan. All we have to do is stop Cooper Kupp, and the problem is you can't stop Cooper Kupp. I don't, it's. I mean, we can go and why is Apple guarding Cooper Kupp and 1-on-1, and that was a mistake. But anyway, I mean, this guy is just an amazing receiver. I think the last guy that did it was Larry Fitzgerald, and but he didn't win a Super Bowl. And I think he was being. I saw Larry Fitzgerald was being interviewed, and somebody brought it up, and he's like, "Yeah, but all I got, he's got hardware. All I got are memories." So, yeah, no, that was a great game, and of course, I think I was supposed to show this one first, but we all know what happened. So, man, I thought Cincinnati had this game. Well, I did keep saying, they keep punting the ball. This isn't going to win the game. You can't win the game punting the ball. You're going to have to be aggressive because even though they were stopping the Rams, you're not going to stop them forever. And I was a little bit surprised how easy that the Rams were getting to Burrows in the fourth quarter, where they couldn't really get to him that much. I mean, basically the O-line for the Bengals did a good job, and then all of a sudden it's like they weren't even on the field. And then there was some questionable calls down at the end where you're not calling anything all game long, and then all of a sudden it's third and goal or third and whatever, and they call a pass interference that wasn't. I think I'd rather seen Stafford have to try to win the game on fourth and goal, and then give him a brand new set of downs at the one. But what'd you think?
I thought it was a great game. Kind of, when you're talking Bengals, you can kind of see it at the quarter lines there that were on the photo. I mean, they started slow. They only got a field goal. Picked it up in those middle quarters, got a touchdown the second quarter, 10 points the third quarter, one of them being that bomb right after halftime where, he probably did face mask Ramsey. Oh, yeah. It was pretty obvious, but they didn't call it. So I guess you got to do better to get it called or whatever, or make a play. And then they didn't finish. Well, I mean, 0 points the whole fourth quarter. So, young team, making a Super Bowl that they probably didn't expect to be in at the start of the season, maybe. No one expected them to be there, but, it was kind of a start slow, end slow kind of situation for them, unfortunately. And a lot of that was due to, I thought, the Rams' pressure. I mean, I think he got sacked 9 times. It might have been the most sacks a quarterback has taken in the Super Bowl. And we had talked, a couple weeks ago before the game, and my analysis of how the game was going to go was Aaron Donald's going to try to dominate the game and go crazy to win himself a ring. And he showed up in the last 2 offensive plays of the Bengals. I mean, he basically ended the game for the Bengals, the last 2 plays of the game, and solidified himself as, one of the best defenders to play. So he had that moment. Going back to Cooper Kupp, obviously was the MVP, had game-winning touchdown at the end. I don't know how you put a guy one-on-one with him that close to the goal line, and the corner doesn't even look for the ball on the fade route. Didn't even look that way. And Cooper, he does a good job of putting his hands up at the last minute, not to give himself away that the ball's there, but you got to turn your head, man. Yeah. I mean, it's 5 yards.
Yeah.
What else are you looking at? He's right there. He doesn't have a lot of where to go. He's running towards the sideline. I mean, so turn your head. Like,
Yeah.
know if the ball is coming. Like, I don't know what you have to do with your positioning or your footwork or whatever, but get to where you can see the ball coming. Because if he does, you're getting an arm in there or something.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. It just drives me crazy when I see those plays where it's just like, really? You never even look for the ball on a 5-yard route at the end zone? Like, you didn't even turn your head, really? And that's maybe a technique they coach, and for some reason, I mean, I'm not
I hate it. I hate that.
professional defensive backs coach, but I see everyone doing it, so it's got to be a technique that they teach. But it's just like, gosh, I was always taught see ball.
Yeah.
So it's just
Well,
crazy.
You know, and to speak to that, the Rams' first touchdown of the game, the same thing happened. The defender didn't look for the ball, and I was yelling at the TV and telling Leela, "This is the stupidest thing. I hate this." And I said it's probably coach. They're not turning their head. You have to turn around, especially when you're getting to close to the sideline or the back of the end zone end line. You know, you've got them trapped. Turn and look, because you've got it. They're not going to lose you at this point. And you got to turn and look at the ball, and you can make a play. And then when Stafford threw his first touchdown, or I'm sorry, his first interception, it was the corner or safety turned and looked, got in the end zone, said, "Hey, I should turn and look and see if the ball's coming. Oh, look, it is. I'm going to catch it and get an interception." And that's why you turn and look at the ball. And then again, at the end of the game there, you can't defend that. I don't know. I'm with you. It's like, I don't know if it's something that they coach and say, watch them, the hands go up, then shoot your hand up in the middle and try and break it up, but I hate that. And where I began hating that is because that is what the Ducks did. I don't know if it was, I think it was with Taggart, when Taggart was there, this kind of bend, don't break defense. And the defenders never looked for the ball. They hardly got any interceptions all year. They were getting passed on left and right, and it was all they were doing was just chasing people down, trying to be sticky on them all the way down, and never looking for the ball. I hate it. And but it is what it is. I also, I think everyone in the world knew that Ramsey there should have been a face mask call. But earlier in the game, Ramsey did hold someone, and it should have been pass interference, and the Bengals ball at the 1. And so I'm going to say, okay, those were offsetting missed calls, but also at the end that linebacker covering was never even touched the guy, and they called it pass interference. That then set up 4 more free plays to score the touchdown, whereas they should have had one more play to try and score that touchdown. So, but again, I think the Bengals had 4 straight punts to end the game, and that. One more score and you're still in it, and you're at least a tie, right? You're overtime, and so you gotta be aggressive. You can't just accept. I think there was one drive that they could have tried a long field goal. I mean, it would have been long, but you got the most clutch kicker in the league right now. I might try 3 points. I don't know. I'd have to go back and look at those drives again. But it was a good game. I really thought, even though I picked the Bengals to win the spread, I thought I was really picking them also in my head to win the game. And I said that I'd give some credit to Matthew Stafford if he won the game, but I'm still kind of on the fence because he threw 2 interceptions. One wasn't his fault, but he did kind of huck it in there super fast, unprepared, but still bounced off the receiver, should have caught it. The Rams defense won that game, and when it came down to it, and they needed the defense to do something, and they did. And Stafford plays serviceable, but Cooper Kupp was just the man, absolutely the man.
Yeah, and going back to Cooper, so he got the Triple Crown that we showed. He also got the Offensive Player of the Year award for the NFL, and then he was the Super Bowl MVP, the only other player to ever do that, to get all of those in a career, is Jerry Rice. But he did them over a career. Cooper Kupp got all of them in one season.
Yeah.
I mean, so yeah, it's never been done before by a receiver. Um, yeah, so Yakima's own Davis High School, Eastern Washington, didn't have any real scholarship offers at all, even though his dad and his grandpa played professional football. Um, yeah, I mean, can't take anything away from this kid now. And Stafford, I mean, he's just going to be love and thrown to this guy for probably the rest of his career if he can lock it up. That's the one thing is if you're a Bengals fan, you should feel really good about what your team did this year, even though they didn't win it. They're a young team. You got a lot of good young talent, to work with moving forward. It looks like the Bengals could be good for a good while. Joe Burrow could be for sure, your quarterback for the next several years. He looks to be like a really good player. If you're the Rams, who knows? I mean, half of these guys were win now guys. Weddle came out of retirement just to help out, and he luckily got a ring and played really hard while he was there. He's probably done.
He's already back coaching high school football, they said. Or, named the head coach again.
Beckham Jr. hurt his knee again. He might be out all of next season again. So thankfully he did his part and he got his ring, and he had a touchdown in the Super Bowl before he got hurt. So, good for him. And Andrew Whitworth, it took him forever to get to the playoffs, and that big left tackle, he finally got a ring. Stafford got smashed for the Lions for years and years. He got a ring. Von Miller got another ring after moving over from Denver. So happy for a lot of those guys, but I don't see a lot of those guys being back next year. They're not going to be able to pay them all.
Right.
It was a really let's go for it year. The Rams are going to look different next year. They just will in some places.
Yeah.
I think they will try to retain some, but some guys are just going to be done. I mean, there's Weddle's gone. He's going to retire. Some are hurt, whatever. But yeah, I think positive things. If you're the Bengals going forward, you got to fight with the Bills and the Chiefs, it looks like, for the next few years, why they got Mahomes and Allen and those offenses. But I still think it's anyone's ball game, especially for the NFC next year. I think it's wide open again, even maybe for the AFC. I don't even see these teams. I don't see this being the Super Bowl next year, really, to be honest. I see two totally different teams next year.
I agree with you. Two totally different teams. I thought there were a lot of good teams in the NFL, and whether it be injuries or just poor play down the stretch. Again, you look at it. The Niners should have beat the Rams. I mean, the Rams, the last two games, even the playoffs, they should have been. No, actually, the Cardinals. They handled the Cardinals, but again, no excuse there because the Cardinals were the best team in the league most of the season. 2/3 of the season, and then just forgot how to play football. And, they struggled with the Rams and the 49ers. And again, that interception comes down, that nice little can of corn in the bucket, that's ball game, almost. And, So that was late in the game. So, there's a lot of games came down to a play here and a play there. Even the Super Bowl came down to, realistically just a couple plays. And so I agree with you. I think it'll be two new teams next year. My money just, again, I'm not just because I'm a homer, but statistically speaking, the last two Super Bowls have been won by the home team of the Super Bowl. Bucks won in Tampa Bay, Rams won in LA. So I think just to keep the trend going, it's going to be the Cardinals here in Glendale on their home turf. So that's just my early pick. Just, whether we have Kyler Murray still or DeAndre Hopkins or anyone, I'm just going to run with, that's going to keep the home team, home field thing going until they lose, until a team loses. So, no, good stuff there. Before we get into a little bit of basketball, I know we want to touch on that a little bit tonight before we go, but would like to jump in and do Play It Through Person of the Week. and I know you got someone selected here, so I'm actually gonna step aside, enjoy my brewski, and let you do your play it through person of the week.
All right, cool. Yeah, man. This week's Play It Through Person of the Week is a high school senior wrestler in the state of Virginia, and his name is Adonis Lattimore. Adonis was actually born with no left leg, or actually no right leg, a left leg that ends kind of in the middle of his thigh, and he only has one finger on one of his hands. So on his right hand, so you can imagine trying to grip for wrestling, things like that, basically working no legs, one-handed for the most part, really using your arms a lot would be extremely difficult, but not for Adonis. So his freshman year in high school, he was a qualifier, a regional qualifiers freshman year, but didn't stay long, and he missed the regional tournament as a sophomore year. And then last year, COVID pandemic, there wasn't a wrestling season. So this was his senior year. It was his last chance to get to state, and he did it. Not only did he get to state, but he won state. So he competes in the Virginia High School League Class 6, 106-pound weight class. And, his coach, James Sanderlin, was just amazed by what Adonis can do. And he just said that Adonis did all the work. He just got to be part of the journey, and just said the feeling that you have as a coach watching somebody do what Adonis did is just an amazing feeling. And, Adonis has said that he's been dreaming of this since, he knew what state was, and to finally have it happen, he just didn't know how to explain it. He was so excited to, and just basically says, if you really work hard, you can do anything, even win a state championship without legs. So, he's just one of those great stories like we've shared in the past for Play It Through, where he has played it through. He's persevered. He's the state champion. The work he put in was as hard, if not harder, than everyone else's, and that's what got him to be this champion in his mindset. So just once again, Adonis Lattimore, our Play It Through Person of the Week, just very inspirational winning his state championship as a senior there in Virginia.
Yeah, I mean, wrestling is a tough sport in itself, and you need your legs. I've wrestled, and to be able to really just use your upper body to, overcome your competition like that. That's just takes so much strength and agility, because there's so many things you can't do without your legs that I'd love to actually watch it, because it would just to see the technique and that how you can do that, because I can't even imagine how it's done, how he can be so successful at that. But it's phenomenal that he can be, and it's again for anyone that has anything that they've had to play it through, you learn to adapt to whatever life has given you, and I think it's just the human nature and the human body that can overcome all of that and adapt and find a way to be successful and win. So that's awesome. So you had sent me something. I got to get this over here on my screen because I'm going to throw it up as the website. But so each week we're still going to keep in some football news, but we also want to keep everyone abreast of what is happening out there. And right now, since baseball is locked out and we'd be in spring training anyway, and I do want to give a shout out to Corey for joining us tonight. And I didn't get to your comment earlier, Corey. I do apologize. I know you had to leave and go to bed, but you're working hard, buddy. But thanks for joining the show, and we will see you next week, and we'll get you on here. So a little bit of basketball, looking at kind of where the standings are right now. Let me see if I can make this a little bigger over there. Maybe not. Anyway, so in the Eastern Conference, and I hadn't actually even looked at the Eastern Conference, to be honest. The Miami Heat being on top right now with the Bulls. I would not have picked Miami to be up there, and I'm not lie. I pay a lot more attention to the Western Conference, and hadn't even really taken a look over at the East in a while, and I'm surprised to see the Heat up there.
Yeah, I mean, they're a solid unit. They got Jimmy Butler, who's their leader there, Bam Adebayo at the post. They got some good shooters in Duncan Robinson, Tyler Harrow. Bench is just all right. They're kind of, I don't know. I feel like they're kind of lucky because I don't believe the East has been that consistent or super strong this year compared to the West. You got the Bulls up there where, Levine's been hurt. DeRozan, as we just showed, has been going crazy for them. But, they've had some injuries and COVID off and on a little bit. There's some teams on this list that are a little bit of a surprise. Not only the Bulls being second since they didn't even make the playoffs last year, but the Cavs at 4. So local boy Evan Mobley, who had fun and did well at his home Cleveland Cavaliers All-Star game. So our Temecula pride, rookie Evan Mobley playing for the Cavs, doing really well, helping that young team be 4th right now in the East over the current champions. The Bucks are in 5th with Giannis and Middleton and Holiday and all those guys. They've had some injuries too, but so has everyone. Everyone's had guys out for COVID. Everyone's had injuries. So no one can really make excuses. The Celtics went on a bit of a run right before the All-Star break, but they were playing terribly all the way up through the season almost. They've just kind of turned it on recently. And then really those teams below, I mean, if you see that number 8 team there, what's going on there? I mean, KD's been out. Kyrie can only play every other game. Harden wasn't playing a lot of games before he got traded to Philadelphia. They've had a bunch of guys out. No one's on the court. I saw a thing on the internet, and they said once everybody's healthy, if they wanted a starting lineup, they could have the highest draft picked starting lineup in NBA history as far as where every starter was picked in the draft. It would be Kevin Garnett, who was the 2nd pick of the draft. LaMarcus Aldridge, which is 2nd pick of the draft. Blake Griffin was a number 1 pick. Kyrie Irving was a number 1 pick, and Ben Simmons was a number 1 pick. So they could have a starting lineup where no guy finished worse than 2nd drafted in the year they were drafted, 2nd pick that they put out on the floor. And guess what? I guess all of those draft picks don't mean crap, does it? Because, they're 8th right now. So if you can't put those high picks on the floor, they can't produce ladder on their ages like Blake Griffin and LaMarcus Aldridge. They can have some good games, but they're not consistently the all-stars they used to be. Not in this lineup. And then you got Ben Simmons, who hasn't even played all season.
Right.
You got Kyrie that hasn't played much this season and only can play in away games. And then KD's been hurt off and on this season. So this season's been kind of a bust for the Nets. And I see this experiment where they tried to buy this team with all-stars not working. So I could see Durant leaving somewhere next year. I could see Kyrie leaving next year to play where he could play somewhere where he gets to play all the games and not just half of the games. Blake's, not what he used to be. LaMarcus Aldridge isn't what he used to be.
Right.
Ben Simmons, who knows what's going to happen when he gets there. But, yeah, I think the Nets kind of busted out on this. And I think James Harden, if he's healthy and plays okay, I mean, man, I'd team up with Joel Embiid. That dude's a stud. He's killing it right now, and he's going to continue to kill it. And I mean, I think that's a great place for Harden to be. And they got Tobias Harris and some good other young players, running the floor. And so I think really right now, if I had to pick, I mean, the Bucks could turn it off in the playoffs. And, of course, the Sixers could turn it on in the playoffs. No one else I see really. I mean, the Hornets are kind of fun to watch, but they're not ready. They're young. Hawks aren't great. Wizards aren't great. The Knicks are trash. Basically, everybody under the Wizards and below are just kind of garbage.
Right.
I don't see them getting any closer to the playoffs than where they're at now.
Yeah, and a lot of these teams, 8 and above. I mean, really 7 and above. Yeah, 7 games back isn't much if you get on a run, but
they're still about 500.
Really close. Yeah, I mean, you look at the Bucks at 5; they're only 2.5 games back.
Yeah, I see them cranking it on at the end of the season too, and kind of moving up. Bucks
Now,
and Sixers.
if we look over at the Western Conference, Suns are still sitting on top, which
Yeah.
is still shocking to me. But now Chris Paul's hurt, probably going to be out 6 to 8 weeks with that broken finger or whatnot.
Yeah, that's gonna be rough.
And so, but you get him back healthy for the playoffs. He'll be fresh, and they got a pretty good lead right now,
Yeah, it's a good lead.
over the Warriors, and then teams just honestly in the West drop off after, really the Grizzlies. I mean, you got the top three teams, and then I think you can pretty much write off everyone else below, 4 and below. Whereas in the Eastern Conference, you could say the top 8 could make a run for still, winning the conference.
Yeah.
But here you really only have 3 teams. I mean, the Jazz are 12 games back right now. And sure, you just you just had your All-Star, the turn of the season, but are you in a position to really get better? Being down 12 games or 13, 15, 7. I mean, just looking at these records and how far back some of these teams are is just ridiculous.
Well, look at the Lakers. How pathetic is that?
Yeah,
Under 500. Worse than the Clippers, who haven't had Paul George or Kawhi Leonard, where the Lakers have had LeBron and AD and Westbrook, way more than the Clippers have had George and Paul and Kawhi this year. So it's just like, what? I mean, I don't know why it hasn't happened. I would have fired the Lakers coach 2 months ago.
Yeah.
2 months ago. Just because you have to. Like, someone's got to go, and it's not going to be fucking LeBron. So who's got to go? You got to do something to, like, send a message. I mean, you don't have to send a message to LeBron or probably AD, but you need to send a message to the rest of the team. Like, the coach is now gone. Now, everyone else needs to be on notice. Like, you better be playing or you're going to be gone,
Roberts, watch out for those Clippers once they're full force.
They get George and Kawhi. Yeah.
I guess as long as they're down there. What is it? They take the top 8 or 6?
I think it's the top 8.
And there's a play-in game, right? So is it 9? I think it's 9 and 8 in play, right, for that play-in.
Yep.
So, if they can at least maintain and win, they can try and do what the Lakers didn't play in last year, but then they failed, right? They lost to the Timberwolves or Grizzlies. I think Lakers lost to the Grizzlies, I think it was.
And I really see that Mavericks team at 5. I only see that looking at the schedule because their actual division is terrible. I mean, they have the Spurs, the Rockets, like the Pelicans, like they're all in their division. Like it's just their division's trash. So that's why they have extra wins, because they have garbage teams that they get to play more than any other teams that they play. So they're going to pick up a lot of those division wins against real crap teams. So that's going to pad their win total. So, I mean, good for them. But to me, when they get in the playoffs and they play actual good teams, they're not going to fare that well. I mean, if Luka's not hitting, they're done. Like he's got to have great games, and it's hard to do seven in a row for a few rounds to be able to make it anywhere.
Yeah. I'm still shocked. I honestly thought the Suns were going to be kind of a one and done kind of team, and just become kind of mediocre this year. That, all right, we achieved expectations, kind of, that one, and we're okay if we fall down to be like number 4 or 5 in the division or something, and I think probably I honestly didn't have a lot of faith in them to be playing this well this year.
I thought they'd be good, but I didn't think they would be where they're at. I didn't think they'd, have the record that they would. Chris Paul demands so much from his teammates. I knew they would be good. And Devin Booker can light it up, and Ayton's a good young player. I think the role players, like Robert's saying, really make a difference. And then one player that I've seen just seems like he's got maybe the most improved player is Bridges. He's having a really great season this year. I didn't see his year coming, from last year, but I think he might be on a list of my most improved players. He's really solid. He's a really solid player this year.
So yeah, I mean, I think a little bit of a teaser. It's nice to kind of look at the standings, see where we're at, and each week we'll be interjecting that, but we want to stay on top of some football news. I mean, there's a lot of stuff happening in the NFL. I mean, moves, predictions. They got the draft, but also baseball. What's going to happen there is a lot of news I read a lot of news every day of sports news, and I forget to write down the stories that are kind of interesting to me. But there's a lot happening in sports right now, and I think each week we're just going to kind of, until football comes back around, just be a little diverse. So maybe even talk a little bit of your English football.
Huge match on Sunday. I might go to a party, a Shamrock Irish pub, a town next to me. It's the Caribou League Cup Final, which is my team Liverpool against Chelsea, another English Premier League. But it's a tournament, so someone's winning a trophy on Sunday between those two teams, and I likes when my team wins trophies. So I think I might put on my Mo Salah jersey, my Liverpool hat. I've talked to my wife about it. I may have to miss one of the 97 theater productions that we have to do this week for my stepson and James and the Giant Peach. But I think I might get to go Sunday to this big Liverpool versus Chelsea viewing party in the town next to me and root for my Liverpool FC team.
Nice. Sunday, I will be playing a round of golf with Raleigh Marshall.
Very nice.
You remember? I don't know if you remember Raleigh and Debbie.
Yeah, he's my neighbor forever.
Yeah. So they're visiting your parents this week, and so they take them golfing out here, play around, and yes, Robert, USFL is there. The XFL we're hearing is going to have some sort of maybe partnership with the NFL to test out some rules and train referees and try some different things. So maybe that partnership with the XFL and the NFL will lead to a little more kind of a minor league football where they can develop players and I think that to be a successful football league, you have to have some sort of tie to the NFL to add some legitimacy. Just like minor league baseball has its affiliation with Major League Baseball and such. So, but yeah, it would be football year round. I don't mind that. I'd be okay, learning about some unknowns and out there that could probably then get called up to the big time in the NFL. But then that kind of sucks for those teams too that have you got a stud playing on your team and you're looking good for your local crowd, and then hey, we need you. Rams need you right now or this coming year. So but yeah, so plenty of football hopefully on the horizon, and a lot to look forward to this spring, I think, in sports in general.
Man, I need to get in that player personnel office for one of those USFL or XFL teams if they come to San Diego. I'll sit there and watch Division II players to see if anyone's, hey, how many Cooper Cups are there out there that no one saw? Right. I bet there's some more. I bet there's some more dudes that can really play that didn't go to, Alabama or Ohio State.
Yeah. I'd be bad at that because I'd probably get overhyped just going to a game feeling like, oh, I got to find someone here. I don't think I'd be that guy that could just go watch a game. It's like, no, I didn't see anyone. I mean, honestly, but I feel like I'd have to, I got to call someone out or pick somebody. I'd be too easy.
You know what, though, what I've kind of noticed, and I don't want to compare small colleges to youth athletics that much. But remember when we coached youth athletics and you could see two kids and you just knew like, oh, those kids are way better than the rest of the kids on the field.
Oh, yeah.
I feel like that happens at like Division III and Division II too, where there's some dudes for some reason they didn't want to go leave their hometown and leave their family, so they didn't go off to college, or they didn't, pursue the big college, or they didn't have the grades, and this smaller school figured out how to help them. But I think I've always seen it, even community colleges and stuff, where somebody pops right off the field or right off the court, where you're just like, oh, this guy could be somewhere else. He could, he's dominating this division. He for sure could play D1. So I think there's a lot of dudes like that out there. I don't know. You just got to find them. You just got to put in the time and have enough eyes, enough places, to see it.
And I hope they're lighting up the USFL or the XFL, this year, and just giving fans, something to continue to watch, and maybe not so over top like the original XFL was. And what was that guy's name? He Hate Me or something like that. That's probably the only one I remember. I think He Hate Me.
That was right.
So Corey, welcome back. Thought you were going to sleep, and hopefully, the lockout is done. So when you guys are down here, we can also go and see the game. I don't know if you were here early, but so we have tickets for this Saturday for the Padres and Mariners that was canceled. So hopefully we can take that money and put it somewhere else to another game later in the. But I kind of hope you're wrong, Corey, that I'm going to go back to Corey jumped in really early on this and he thinks that when I mentioned that about keeping the month of spring training and getting, maybe canceling the first 10 games or something of the regular season. But I don't know. I see what you're saying, but it seems like not a lot of people go to early baseball games, in the season. They play 180 some games. 170 some wouldn't be a big deal. I think, but they make a lot of money on merchandise and it's a big atmosphere for spring training. So, as long as they keep, I guess a few weeks, maybe, everything will be good. And cause I know it's a big deal here in Arizona. So, alrighty. So my son is at the door and can't get in. And so you're going to have to hang on.
Awesome.
Okay, my wife is getting up. And she went to bed. So anyway, thanks for Corey for checking in, Robert. Somebody else is on there that didn't really check in. So but yeah, thanks everyone someone's on Twitch watching us and a couple on Facebook. So thanks Twitch. And it's a great time. Tell them it's a great time. Tell him, get a new address. Hey, I'll let him know when he gets in. So all right, Dave, any final words for the fans?
Oh, just everyone pray for me. I'm practicing getting back in shape to join the men's league at 44 years old and 5'0" and I'm joining this team of 10, and I met a couple guys, and so far through text messages and stuff, I'm the oldest and the shortest player on the team. So that's where I'm at now in my life. So say a prayer for me, and first time back in 7 years running full court, played 4 games at lunchtime yesterday, and I'm alive. Had to ice my shoulder, or not my shoulder, but my elbow last night a little bit, but I'm pretty good. It'll be all right. I'll get it rolling. As long as I got my shot, that's all I need.
Yeah, no, I'm looking forward to the updates. If Whitney goes, make sure she gets some video or some pictures draining your threes. You'll be the Steph Curry of sports and drafts.
I swatted a guy to the bleachers on the baseline. He banged on me. He got me in a post earlier in the game and abused me and went up and got a layup on me. And so I waited for him to do it again. And then when he went to bang, then when he went up, I got to the side and I got up with my left hand and whap, swatted it into the bleachers on the baseline, and everyone went, woo! I was like, oh yeah, you gotta watch. I'm sneaky.
Sneaky.
My legs work every once in a while.
You save them for the right moment. That's what you
That's
gotta do.
right.
When you get older, you just got to save it for the right moment.
I do. I got a time when to use all my energy on my jumping anymore.
It's like power ups in a video game, right? You just don't get unlimited. You just gotta
Pretty
use
much.
them when you need them.
Yeah, for sure. Yep, that's what it was.
Oh, it's too fun. Well, good luck with that. I look forward to the updates and hearing how your season goes. So, with that, folks, that brings us to the end of the show. My glass is empty, and it was a good one. So, hopefully, you all enjoy your week, enjoy your brews, and we'll see you next Wednesday on Sports and Drafts. Good night, everyone.